Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up. What's up, Bears fans? The schedule is here. We are going to break it down. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. What's going on, guys?
Braggs, go ahead. This is your day.
I am like a ball of fire right now. Honestly, I feel like I don't. This sounds ridiculous, but I feel like the CHGO Blackhawks guys awaiting the word on when this bye week is, because I love the way the schedule has laid out so far. I love week one. We're going to get into all the different matchups, and I can't wait to talk about it all. But the bye week now is so key to me. It cannot be early in the season. That will be a disappointment. I've got my eyes set on week 13. I think that's like a perfect spot when you consider the two Thursday night games that we reportedly have in weeks 5 and weeks 10. Then you have the bye week 13. So I have so many thoughts. I'm so excited. The week one matchup could not be any better. Bears, Packers at Soldier Field, 3:00 game. To me, the entire thing is perfect. The Bears absolutely have to dominate that game. And I know it's like, well, of course they are. But you know what? Don't take it for granted. The last time the Bears and Packers played week one at Soldier Field, there was all this hype around the Bears, and they blew it. This team cannot blow it. There is no more Hall of Fame quarterback over there. You have to step on this team's throat and let that fan base up in Wisconsin know who the new king in town is in the NFC North.
I'm giving you a look because coming off of the 12-4 going to the playoff season, that's the last time the Packers were here on opening day, and there was so much hype. The Bears, correct me if I'm wrong, we did finish 3-14, right? I mean, I get that Aaron's not there, but it's going to be a different vibe, man, and it's going to be an amazing vibe. And I have not talked to upper management, but I'm assuming they're planning the greatest tailgate in the history of man for opening week. Bears, Packers, CHGO Bears year 2. This is what's happening.
Exactly. I mean, for us, yeah, you get a tailgate. It's not going to start at 9 a.m. It's going to start later in the day. You get that first slate of games, 3:00 game, the whole day. I just cannot wait. Let the countdown begin.
All right, well, that is a great way to start this show. The schedule is out. We have the full thing for you, but there is something significant about it starting with the Packers and without Aaron Rodgers in week one. To Greg's point, I think it's a big game. This is Aaron Rodgers is gone. The owner of the Bears is now the quarterback of the New York Jets. You got to win. You got to set the statement that era is over and you are taking over. There's no more Aaron Rodgers. There's an extra emphasis on the Bears winning that game. And I want to give the NFL schedule makers some credit here. Great way to start. Couple reasons, right? So we don't know how good either of these teams are really going to be. I think it's a great decision to start them off. It's the late afternoon window on Fox, so it's not necessarily a primetime game, but it is an exclusive national window. Mm-hmm. And both teams are 0-0. I got news for you. Jordan Love might suck. And we might find that out in week one. We might know that for sure by week 3. But we don't know that in week 1.
Right.
Going into it. So if you're the schedule makers trying to get like a big Bears-Packers game out of it, that's a good route to go week 1 right away. Late afternoon window on Fox, Bears-Packers. What a great way to start.
And they finally did right by us, because every year it seems like we start out primetime at Lambeau. I mean, Brendan Segru has laid it out every year how it's like 17 of the last 21 primetime games against the Packers have been at Lambeau. And there always seem to be at the beginning of the year. So they give us week 1 at Soldier Field, because to me, I would have felt good about it if they said we're going to Lambeau week 1. But I feel even better about it at Soldier Field. The fans are going to be going crazy. And I just want this. And the other thing is to keep this team on their toes. Like, I want them to look at this like obviously it's like it's a must win. But in my mind, the first thing that they cannot lose this game. I don't want to say it in a negative way. So it's like I want them to dominate it. But the other aspect, like you said, Adam, they cannot lose this game. You have to step on their throats and let them know that the days of Hall of Fame quarterbacks are over. In my lifetime, they have had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers run out that tunnel. For the first time in basically my entire Bears fandom, I can make the argument we have the better quarterback and the better offense for at least one game. And the Bears got to show that they're ready to take that step and be the new team here in the North. I mean, it is a big game.
I'm not trying to say it's not a big game. It's the opener. It's the Packers. It's the new season. It's Justin Fields year 3. It's an enormous game. And I love that they're opening up with Green Bay. The schedule, it's I'm not sure if we have it ready to put out.
No, we don't have it ready, Carm. I'm doing like 18 fucking layers right now. So no, I don't have it ready.
Well, look,
you told right before the show started that I was going to have it ready and I would put a note in the chat. No, it's not ready. Thanks.
Settle down, Law. Settle down.
All right.
Law dog.
No one's
in the meantime, Law, I just put a tweet in there. If we can pop that up anytime in the near future, I would like to show it because I actually want to give the Bears social media team some credit here. What's interesting about the schedule coming out in the last 5 years, it's become this huge social media event for NFL teams. The Bears, I'm just going to be honest, have not even come close to winning this in past years. This is fucking awesome. If you have not watched this TV show, you need to. It is so hardcore Chicago, and it's a great show. And they went and they took the Bear theme, Yes Chef, and there's hot off the grill, the schedule Charles Tillman apparently is the chef. And then you got obviously our guy Seth Rollins, who joined us at the Super Bowls in there. You got Justin Fields, got a bunch of players. And if you scroll down, you can actually see the actual schedule here, which is now officially out. And we'll continue to kind of break it down week by week. But obviously it does start with the Packers and then back-to-back road games, guys. Braggs, curious your thoughts right here. Going on the road to Tampa. So you get the Packers, no more Rodgers. The Bucks, no more Brady. Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Plus, anybody who's been to a Bears-Bucks game down in Tampa knows it's basically a home game for the Bears.
Yeah, it sets up nicely. It sets up real nice. The stat. They used to bring up when it was a 16-game season, teams that can start 2-0. So, this is where you start to get ahead of yourself as a Bears fan. You start counting the wins like Carm was doing the other day, looking at the schedule. Now we see the way it lays out and can kind of consider the momentum swings, and trying to be realistic with it. They lose this one, win that one. And, yeah, you can start talking yourself into wins, and I'm sure I will as we get through this show.
Why don't you just go nuts about the Week 13 bye that you wanted? Because there it is for you, Week 13 bye week. Come on, go nuts. You wanted it and you got it.
That is the best case scenario. I know last year we had the Week 13 bye week, I believe, but we didn't have 2 Thursday night games. This year, for whatever reason, we do. So you've got 2 mini bye weeks, Week 5 and Week 10. And I like the matchup with both of the Thursday night games because to play the Thursday night, it's a little quick turnaround, so that's not great. But the teams we're playing, I think, are certainly beatable. Then you get an extended layoff for the teams the upcoming week. Now you've got a bye week. Imagine if the Bears are still in that graphic when they put the playoff picture up come Week 13, in the hunt. That's what my goal is for this team. When they get to that point, be in the hunt. And then you've got the rest of your schedule laid out. Lions, Browns, Cardinals, Falcons, Packers. You're telling me they can't win any, if not all of those games? Because I'm telling you they can.
Well, that if they are in a playoff position at the point, and obviously a million different things can happen, but as we sit here right now, that's what we will be saying. all winnable games. That's the one thing about the schedule that, I would have preferred the Chiefs later in the year. Got to see them early. And look, it's challenging, man. You play the Broncos, then you're at Thursday Night Football on the road against Washington. It's not easy. You're playing at New Orleans in Week 9, then you're coming up again Thursday Night Football. That is going to be a lot on a young Bears team with two short rest weeks. And they'll be starving to get to that bye when it comes. But to your point, if they're in the mix at that point, you'll look at that schedule and think, hey, why can't we get there? We absolutely can.
Yeah, they got to get there first, but it's an easy schedule already. I mean, last year we technically had one of the easier strength of schedules, and then by the end of the year, when you go back and look at the actual win-loss of the season, it wasn't that case. So we all know that this time of year you can get tricked, and teams can be completely different to our perception now to what they actually are during the year. So like when I look at the Cardinals at home, I don't have much respect for the Cardinals. For whatever reason, that team is falling apart. Kyler Murray doesn't look like his earlier self coming to Chicago Christmas Eve. I mean, that's not an easy thing for, a West Coast team, so to me, it sets up, but hey, by then maybe the Cardinals have come back. So I understand I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited, but this is what we do every year, at least from my standpoint as a fan of getting overhyped about different. I mean, hell, last year I was trying to keep myself calm last year, understanding we were in a rebuild. This year, it's going to be a lot harder for me to pick these games because I do truly feel like, this team can surprise in a lot of ways.
Yeah, look, here's a couple quick takeaways that I have on the schedule here. I mean, one is we set 3.5. And I sort of feel like that was the perfect number because obviously it came out to be 4, but 2 of them are Thursday night, which sort of don't seem as significant, right? So it's like it kind of really is 3.5. So 2 Thursday night games at Washington in Week 5, at home against the Panthers in Week 10. I did get a kick out of when that one linked the Washington Bears game in Week 5 because the NFL. We're going to give Amazon Prime better Thursday night games. Also, the NFL. Here's one of the worst Thursday night games. You get it again.
I mean, thank you. Do we really need to run back Commanders Bears?
I mean, I hope it's better. I mean, that was pre-Bears offense taking off, pre-Justin Fields taking off. I don't necessarily know that, the Commanders quarterback situation is going to be any better than it was when Carson Wentz came to Chicago last year. But yeah, at least Bryce Young coming in Week 10 in the Panthers is a little bit more interesting, but they're not going to be a great team. Chargers on Sunday Night Football. That one
on the road.
That one kind of, I mean, the Chargers are weird because yes, it's LA market, Chicago market, but the Chargers, do they even really count as an LA market?
I mean,
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the reality is like their fan base is
no, and I guarantee
it's not like when the Rams are hosting against the Bears.
No, and like last night when we were talking about like most desirable destinations to go as for fans, for these road games, that's going to be a packed. There's going to be a ton of Bears fans at that game.
Oh my God, that's going to be yeah.
So but I'm not one of these people that doesn't believe in Justin Herbert. I know there's some people out there think he's a stat packer or whatever. I think he's a rising star in this league. So I don't look at that game like we got that one. That's going to be a tough one. I love that the Panthers are later in the season. I was worried. I heard like people saying, "Oh, maybe it'll be Week 1." I understand they have Andy Dalton. It'd be funny if it was Andy Dalton versus Justin Fields. I don't want funny. I want good matchups. I want Bryce Young versus Justin Fields. I feel good about the matchup either way for the Bears.
Let me just interrupt you for a second. If the Panthers are dumb enough to play Andy Dalton in Week 1 like the Bears did a couple of years ago instead of Justin Fields, instead of Bryce Young this time, that would be, I'm sorry, that would just be completely hilarious.
I agree. And right now that's the way they're playing it. Who knows how they'll actually play when they get to camp. But certainly a chance. And then, of course, either way, beating that team is vital for our personal draft stock, obviously.
Dang.
So, it's a big one.
That's how I look at. I mean, that's the best part about the Panther game. Let's win that game. Let's get ourselves a better draft pick by beating the team, and maybe we can just, I don't know, get to the quarterback a lot that day. That's the scary thing. Rewinding back to the Chargers too. Sunday night. Hope that Bears defense has come together by what is that, week 1, 2, 3, week 8. Let's go, because you're gonna have. They're going to be a big spotlight on that D that night, and the whole world will be watching on Sunday Night Football. So
the other aspect too that I just, the bookend of this, Packers last week of the season at Green Bay. I like that too, because I mean, to me, the chances of Green Bay still being in the hunt at that point, I don't personally see it. They still, Jordan Love has a lot to prove. I know the Bears do too, and I'm gassing it up here. This is a Bears show, so that's what I'm going to do. And I am looking at this and saying the Packers are going to be doing what the Bears are doing the last week of the season and trying to lose for draft stock. So I find that really interesting that they push it all the way and they put to be determined. That'll be a noon game.
Yeah, probably. Let's be honest. Unless the only,
unless the Bears are playing for something.
Well, unless they're playing because the NFC North sucks so much that they're playing to get into the playoffs. Remember, wasn't that the primetime game last year, Lions and Packers?
Lions, Packers.
So,
exactly.
I mean, it is I guess theoretically possible, but most likely not. And it's been a long, long time since the Bears and Packers played a season without a primetime game.
Well, and it would be ironic because last year, it was the Lions playing the role of keeping the Packers out of the playoffs. So it would be funny if the roles were reversed week 17 and it's a primetime game and it's the Packers. The only thing the Packers are playing for is to keep the Bears out of the playoffs, which would then shift the pressure heavily, obviously, towards Justin Fields. And then you're on the road too. So that's getting way ahead of, but I'm happy to get ahead of ourselves while we do this show. It's exciting. So, then the other aspect of this that I wanted to look at was, how many primetime games they have. Like you mentioned, I mean, if the Packers one isn't one, what are we up to? 3 or 4? We got 4 in here.
4, 2 Thursday night games, 1 Sunday night game, and 1 Monday night game. And there it is all for you on your screen with the orange games designating the home games and
the
blue games on your screen representing the road games. What another
Way to
one
go,
of
Lawrence.
Great job. And I feel bad for him because, not everything was leaked. Some of these other team schedules were leaked. So he had to scramble here to put this together while we were doing this show now.
Yeah, sorry.
But
very annoying. But shout out to our designer in Denver, and then also Joey here, who kind of tweaked it for Bears. So I just had to fill out all the stupid logos and everything.
Team effort here at ALLCITY and CHGO. And for me personally, I liked that there wasn't everything revealed. And shout out to Kevin Warren. He's running a tight ship this year. Carm's boy, Danny Parkins, normally releases and leaks the entire schedule every year. And this year, we didn't hear a peep from anybody, in traditional Bears media that had any kind of leak. So I liked some of the surprises here that we got, as we started this show.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, as Parco had a meltdown on the air today about how he wasn't getting the schedule leak, and he went on a rant about how no one gave him credit last year, and then he threw in that 4-letter word, Hoge.
Yeah,
Somebody didn't watch the CHGO schedule release show last year because we gave you a lot of credit, buddy. So don't throw my name in there with all the other names that you put in there, only giving Colleen Kane credit for crediting the Parco.
I'm very glad that we both heard that exact segment because I heard him throw you in there at the end, and I'm like, don't go at my guy Hoge. This show right here gave you a lot of credit last year, Parkins. Yeah, this is a first-class operation here. We don't play that. We don't play that Parco.
But
we don't clip Carm out of photographs when I'm at events and act like I wasn't there and talk about going to games where with your buddies from college I don't even get a mention. We don't do that on this show. We do that. That's what you do on that show.
And like I said, I like hey, it's cool when you get the get ahead of everybody else and have something, and break some news. That's cool. But I like the idea, like just looking at him like, dang, Kevin. And then they even put a video on Bears social media earlier of Kevin Warren receiving the email of the schedule. They put it on like a video and made a whole social media thing of it. And it was funny. Somebody made the comment like, we never saw a video, schedule hype video of Ted Phillips receiving an email. Like Kevin Warren is like this new vibe. And I like that he's running such a tight ship that nobody even got one game, let alone the whole schedule. I think that just speaks to even more. I know it's a silly little thing, but it does kind of speak to this new culture of how Kevin Warren's running things.
That's a lot. That's a lot of credit for the new president.
It's true. I mean, every year. I mean, and you saw how many other teams were releasing this, having leaks.
I'm not dismissing your take, Brags, and I don't know who Parkin's source is or Harry Titowitz's source before that, but I sincerely doubt they were ever from the Bears.
Okay.
It's probably coming from
I wouldn't know. They ain't going to tell me. I got the biggest mouth in Chicago.
Yeah, I think they should leak it to Brags every year. That would be the greatest thing that you could contribute.
The low-hanging fruit that you just left out there is, and I shouldn't say this, but I just will anyway.
Set it up on the tee for you. Come on.
Well, I don't know. I don't think this is one. What I picked up was, did Ted Phillips even know that the schedule was released on this day back? I would. I'm not even sure if he did, which is totally fine, by the way. Just get the business situation going over there, Ted. But yes,
all right.
New level, Kevin.
Here's one of my other takeaways I wanted to get to here early. When it comes to these road games, especially early on, very favorable to the Bears in the sense of them. Here. Okay, let me. I just stopped myself for a second because what a year to have a crappy year last year. Let's put it that way, because the road schedule last year sucked. So if you're a fan that wants to travel, you got all kinds of options this year. So let's go right to week 2, Tampa.
Oh.
Anyone who's been to games down there in Tampa when the Bears play the Bucs, and they've been playing them for a long time, especially because they used to be in the same division a long time ago. Those are Bears home games. At least, at minimum, it's 60-40 Bears fans. Maybe in a down year, it's 55-45, but they're going to take over that stadium. All right, now Arrowhead's going to be a little bit harder to take over in week 3, but that's still a great destination. I would highly recommend. You only get to go there every 8 years. I would recommend going to Arrowhead. I'm sure plenty of Bears fans will make that trip. Washington in week 5, their fans don't even show up anymore. Okay, maybe with the ownership change, there'll be a little bit of a reinvigoration, but that is a town full of transplants, and there's plenty of Chicago Bears fans in that area that will invade that stadium in week 5. Week 8, we already had in a comment. I saw a super chat earlier from someone from Vernon Hills. Shout out Vernon Hills, who now lives in LA. That Chargers game at SoFi, we've already seen Bears fans take over SoFi when they were playing the Rams or at the Coliseum a few years ago before they went into SoFi. That place was packed with Bears fans. Against the Chargers, they're not even getting like home crowds against other teams, let alone teams like the Bears that are going to travel. So that's another one. New Orleans, Bears fans love invading New Orleans, and it's been a few years since they've been down there, not including that fake playoff game that didn't really count. The last time down there in a regular season game, which I believe was the Zach Miller game, unfortunately, when he had that awful injury, Bears fans took over. So we're all the way into week 11 before they go to Detroit, where all those games pretty much are great destinations earlier in the calendar year too. So the weather should be great. If you're a traveling Bears fan, this is a great schedule.
Yep. And I heard that there's a large Bears Nation fan group that's already booked like the New Orleans trip. So
I believe it.
Yeah, of course. And even if you didn't, there'd be a ton of Bears fans there. So
let me just say this, and this has been talked about before, but I've never seen a press box hung over the way I saw the press box in New Orleans in whatever year that was, 2016, 2017, the Zach Miller game, somewhere around there.
Hey, look.
If the 85 Bears can be hung over and win a Super Bowl, you know, the media can.
It had to be 17 because didn't Trubisky start that game?
That sounds right.
I think
that sounds
so.
right. As we're going through it on the road, I pulled up the Game Time ticket app. Game Time tickets, we love you. A little free shout out for you on the show. To go to a Chargers game to get in right now with fees, $113. I mean, that is, and hopefully we'll get a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that one might come down even more.
But 113 to go to that stadium for an NFL game. And maybe it gets sliced out. If that's where it's starting right now, maybe by game time, it'll actually be $50 if you want to play it that way. You know, I don't know. It's probably not going to go super high. That's the Chiefs game is going to be expensive, I would think. Although Kansas City, their tickets can be cheap. I'll check that one out too. But at any rate, go on the road.
Yeah, I would say just as far as ticket advice, anybody watching the show, I for me, as somebody that's always kind of planned out how I buy my tickets to games, I've always found the longer you wait, a lot of fans, their first inclination is to buy the ticket today. So you know where you're sitting, you know what you're doing. And to me, especially in football, the earlier you spend, the better chance, unless you're going to week 1, you know, where everything's kind of set in stone, you know what's going to happen. I mean, and even the first home game for the Bears last year was a monsoon. So if you had bought those tickets today, last year, the day of the game, people were giving them away, literally. And that's kind of the game with football. And if you're coming to Chicago at the end of the year, I implore you to wait as long as you possibly can. In fact, wait all the way till the day of the game, because you just don't know, how the matchups, injuries, the win-loss, everything. And then, of course, the weather plays a huge factor in ticket prices, and I think fans way overspend early in the season.
Braggs, I'm the ticket broker on this show.
You are. You're good with it too.
Thank you very much. The Chiefs ticket, to my point, is $258 without fees to get in. The Charger ticket right now actually seems like a halfway okay value. Maybe it'll go down a ton, but it's the Kansas City games. You definitely want to wait. But hit me up on Twitter at the Carman. By the way, if we do travel, I will take on anybody who wants to play me in tennis in any city we go to. Let's go.
What does that have to do with anything?
It was just on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my guy Salary Man out in LA wants me to. If we go out to California, Salary Man, for those on the audio side, I'm in LA waiting to see you guys here and happy to challenge Carm to a tennis game.
I see. Okay,
I'm ready for it. Let's go.
All right. Fair enough. All right. I got another, there's some preseason news you got to know about too, believe it or not.
Awesome.
Which has been speculated, wondered, pretty much knew where it would probably be, and now we got an answer officially. But first, make sure you're getting fitted out in the best sports gear around. That's where FOCO comes in, because they have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between for you at FOCO. It's spring. It's baseball season. They have Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you might need for a game is right there for you at FOCO. We're not in our studio today, but you see it most days at our set decorations there we have on hand. A lot of them are.
Yeah, where are you guys at? I'm here.
You know, I'm at home.
Yeah.
Cramming dinner in right before the show. Cramming with Cram. Speaking of Cram, there's some golf that will be discussed by the end of the show. Carman was got kicked off a golf course today. That's all I'm going to say.
Well,
something of Bragg's saved the day.
That is a tease. That's true. I mean, I didn't get us kicked off, but I almost didn't get to hang out with Adam and James.
But
Bragg saved us.
Right. We had the FOCO ready to go, and we were having a good time. But when we are in studio, FOCO has donated a lot of our awesome pieces on our set. So make sure you go to FOCO.com, click the link in the description below. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
And let me tell you, if you felt the weather today, you know that summer's coming. Are you ready to unveil your beach bod?
Oh, I'm ready.
I mean, Bragg's is right there for you. And if you are ready, Manscaped is here to ensure your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full body grooming and hygiene products. Don't be the guy at the beach like a Braggalicious with Austin Powers chest hair. If you grew some winter man boobage, well, The least you can do is make sure they're hairless, brags. It's time to get ready for the hot guy summer by going to Manscaped for 20% off. Use free shipping with the code CHGO. And just remember, Manscaped, we love them. They are dedicated to helping you increase your confidence and level up your full body grooming game. They've got the Performance Package 4.0. Kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 4.0, which, of course, is waterproof. Get it going in the shower. That's where I like to do my business. The cordless body trimmer with a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your grooming routine. I mean, you want to get going here. And by the way, no one likes nose hairs either. Straight nasty. Their package also comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0. You're going to get 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped boxers, which are so comfy and so sweet. You want all of this. And by the way, if you're wearing sandals, you're going to need to get the Manscaped Shears 2.0 nail kit for those nasty nails that you want to get rid of. Once again, get 20% off and free shipping with the code CHGO at manscaped.com. It's 20% off and free shipping with the code CHGO at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles.
It's all, you know what? It's almost like you wrote that, Carm.
And I didn't.
That is something you would have just said.
Chesticles with the besticles. Brags.
100%. By the way, shout out to Johnny Venerable from our friends at PHNX. He had the scoop on the Cardinals Bears game on Christmas Eve.
How about it?
That was
we've got the Cardinals and the Broncos.
Yep.
Both coming to Chicago.
That's when they started ALLCITY. That was the plan, that everybody was going to have summits in Chicago, Phoenix, and Denver in the same year when the Bears go and shock the world and win the Super Bowl. Bang.
I just real quick, we've got a bunch of super chats to fly through. But first, I wanted to just point out preseason news. The Bears are playing at the Colts. It's their only road game in the preseason. And the expectation there is that there will be joint practices between the Bears and the Colts happening in Indy. The Bears tried to get joint practices happen last year. I'm not exactly sure the full story, but they thought they had it lined up. It fell through. It didn't happen. Remember the year before that, they were able to have the Dolphins come to Chicago. This year, the expectation is that those practices will happen in Indy, which they once did during the John Fox era.
The first thing that came to my mind is, what is the Colts training camp video policy? Because I'll be cooking if they allow me to shoot video there. Unless you guys won't let me.
When we were there last time, they didn't even have fans out there. So I don't know. But hey, we've had some good times in Indy, and there's nothing wrong with Indy. Sounds great.
We own Indy. Let's be real.
Yeah, CHGO owns Indy.
Yeah, the Lions went to Indy's training camp facility last year, and they documented on Hard Knocks the way like the players like walk through the trees, and then like the field appears, and I thought it looked really nice. So I'll definitely be going to that. It'll be my first joint training camp I've ever seen. So something I've always wanted to see and never had the opportunity.
All right. So, and someone pointed out, will there be another surprise retirement? Because the last time the Bears played the Colts in the preseason, Andrew Luck retired after the game.
Yeah, don't remind me.
That was crazy. Why?
I was at the game.
Okay. I was
at the game, and you know me. I'm doing the video. I'm doing Twitter. And I'm just trying to document it through a Bears lens.
Illegally.
And then all of a sudden this unbelievable breaking news. And you could like feel it like a wave through the stadium as people were finding out. And like anarchy broke out basically through Colts fans. And then you had like Bears fans literally laughing in Colts fans' face. I'm like, stop it. This is terrible. Not something that I would laugh at, honestly. Not to my worst enemy, maybe the Packers. And then at the end of the game, it didn't dawn on me that A, Andrew Luck was there, and B, there was going to be this moment. And I'm in the Bears tunnel as they're walking out, and Andrew Luck walks out the other tunnel, and somebody got a video of it, and SportsCenter picked it up, and it had like 50 million views, and I was getting the Bears walking out the tunnel. So that was my story and why I don't like thinking about that day.
Just a bad job.
Drop the ball big time.
I just think it's natural that the Bears play their first road game in Indy. They pay their respects to the location where the number one pick was born, at Lucas Oil Stadium, where Davis Mills converted a 4th and 20.
That's true.
I think
Some
even though it's the
symmetry
preseason, I think it's just a thing that needs to be done. I think everybody should have to go out to the 50-yard line before the game and bow in the honor of the number 1 pick being secured inside Lucas Oil Stadium.
Completely agree. And on the field, by the way, we're gonna get a little peek at what the Colts have in Anthony Richardson, which will be interesting. He's going to be a big storyline come the preseason, for a while here.
Yeah, and you would think he'd play a decent amount in that game. So,
so wait, only one preseason home game because we had 2 last year.
No, there are 2 home games because there's only
we had only had 1 last year.
One home game last year.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. So they the preseason schedule, in case you're wondering, is Titans at home to start, then at the Colts. And again, the expectation there, my understanding is that there will be joint practices between those 2 teams, and then they play the Bills at home in preseason game number 3.
Get your tickets.
Nobody will play in that game.
I can't imagine Josh Allen's playing much, but there you go.
Going back to our original ticket policy, do not buy any preseason tickets until 3 minutes before game time. You'll get them for $1.
Yes.
If you want to go to a preseason game, great to bring the kids to, great to experience it. If you're just there for a good time, that's what the preseason's for.
100%. You have kids less than 7 years, 6 years, 5 years old, little kids, take them to those. That's a great environment. I completely agree, Carm.
All right, let's get to these super chats.
Yeah, sorry.
Lawrence, pop them up as you want. The Duke chiming in, 1999. I got the Bears winning 10 games and sweeping the Green Bay Crappers.
I agree. I think there's a very real possibility you can mark 2 wins down for Bears versus Packers.
Let's just do.
That just seems bold.
It's bold, but
it just doesn't happen.
The ding dong, the witch is dead.
Let's start with 1.
I
okay.
Agree.
Let's start with week 1 at home.
Do we know the
I
last
don't know
year
if
that
I
we
can go
swept
half meatball tonight. It's just not in my nature. It's exciting. Screw the Bay. Green Bay sucks. I can't help it. Might actually be true this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might actually suck now. Carm, what were you gonna say?
I'm looking it up right now. The last time the Bears swept the Packers was what year?
Before I was born. Probably not that long, but it's got to be in the 90s.
No, I'm sure it's happened in some.
It has not happened
year.
since I've covered the team.
Really? I would have thought maybe in some
I'm looking at
2008.
Hold on, I'll get there. I'll let you know when I find it. But maybe
our guy Gary Ross is saying 1985, and Gary's never wrong. So I just go through Gary.
85 is the last time we swept them. That can't be right, but maybe that's right.
And then, while you guys are trying to find that, Mark Potash put on Twitter, Bears schedule fun fact: the last 3 times the Bears have beaten the Packers in week 1, they have gone to the playoffs. 2006, they beat them 26-0 at Lambeau, 13-3 on the season, went to the Super Bowl. 1979, 6-3 at Soldier Field, 10-6, and went to had a wild card appearance. 1963. 10-3 at City Stadium, 11-1-2 on the season, won the NFL championship.
All right, Gary Ross, why don't you get out of here? Don't challenge the Hoge. 2007.
So Gary did not have it. Now he's trying to play like it was a joke.
October
boy Boogie in the
7th, October 7th, 2007, Bears 27, Packer 20. That was at Lambeau. And then on December 23rd of the same year, Bears just whooped up on the Packers 35-7.
There it is. Bring it on. This is the year. By the way, let's just go to opening week. Huge tailgate, CHGO. Everybody's just having a great time. Kevin Kadek's taking pictures. Braggs is leading the charge. Bags are being thrown.
Hoge's getting there late.
Hoge showing up for 5 minutes. Goose Island's being drunk. Everyone's having a great time. Parking's outstanding. The value's incredible. The merch is flowing. We go to this. Everybody goes into the game. They're fired up. We go to the studio. The Bears come. Fields is all over the field. DJ Moore catches 2 touchdown passes. Robert Tunyon against his former team gets in the end zone as well. Maybe we even get a pick 6. Jaquan Brisker streaking, and the Bears win 31-10. You think we're not talking Super Bowl after week 1?
Probably not.
Yeah, you never know.
I was a big fan, Joe.
How much Crown Royal am I going to drink that day?
when I'm at home, I have some secret weapons that I can throw out there with some sound bites. Yeah. All right, what's up next? We got the Bear Forever 14, Whack the Pack, week 1. Let's fucking go. I'm assuming that FGB means F Green Bay.
Yeah, fuck Green Bay. Yeah.
Thank you, Bear Forever.
Daniel Trump, $10. I think 9 wins in competitive games all through the season would be a wonderful building block season. Okay.
Good balance, Trump.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Hoge sarcasm right now. I'm with you, Daniel. We don't need to be complete.
No, I mean, this is the dream. It's the
We're all being meatballs right now. I thought that was the thing.
That's fine.
And then at the end of the show, when we do our actual predictions, and I'm like, yeah.
You got to massage. Hey, well,
8-9.
Well, Hoge, not to put you on the spot, but you did pick the Bears to win 9 games last year, right?
Don't remember that. I'm sure. No, I didn't.
You did.
8-9.
I don't forget these things. I have receipts. All right. Well, we can go back
and
check
that was
pre-trading. I even think our boy Will, who just put out an article of his reactions on allchgo.com. I think he had them all the way up to like 10 or 11.
I think he had 11 and 6.
He had 11.
The L's are 1s. So
yeah. He had honor.
It's easy to get overhyped. It's easy to look at the schedule and conjure up in your head how you can win. And that's what I'm going to do all the way until the season starts. And then I'm going to have to find my way to whittle myself down into reality like Daniel's doing here. And that's fair. What he's doing is fair. 8-9 wins is a fair, realistic expectation. But there is absolutely an opportunity for this team to surprise when you consider what they brought to this team and the schedule you're looking at. The question is, how healthy will they be and how fast can they gel as a team? Because you just can't quantify how long it's going to take for Justin Fields to build chemistry with these new weapons, and the defense, same thing. That's the thing you just don't know yet.
This is a learning moment for me tonight, that how geeked up Braggs gets on the schedule release. Where we are in like game form right now. Feels like a pregame show. I'm ready let's go play some football.
It's beautiful. We finally have a roster to look at and a schedule to look at. The hypothetical game I can only do for so long. This is exactly where my wheelhouse is. Absolutely.
The Duke, by the way, back in the chat with Carm. I need a cigarette after that Packers Bears week 1. My nips could cut glass right now. Way to go, Duke. That's why we got Manscaped for you, buddy. So you look good with your nips, baby. Let's go.
Where's the gif of the dude from Waterboy that's like squeezing his nips? the coach that babbles. That's right. What I imagine the dude.
We're going to keep flying through the super chats because I want to actually walk through the schedule here in a little bit. There's also some interesting sound that we have from Mike North, the guy that, not that Mike North, not the guy that, used to host mornings on 670 Score, but the guy that puts the schedule together, which might actually be Mike North. That would be awesome if it really was.
When you shared the link in the Slack, I thought it was the Chicago Mike North. So that's interesting.
I didn't know it wasn't Chicago Mike North till this very moment. I was like, why is Mike North doing this?
I watched the video, but that's why I was so confused. Go ahead.
Peter Schrager has that Mike North on just to talk about the schedule. Sure.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, what a get by Mike.
All right. Chubbs 82, 17-0, baby. I'm a fan, ride or die. Okay.
He gets so mad when I pick against the Bears.
Brandon Lawson, $5. Appreciate you guys so much. When you look at our schedule by quarterback instead of by opponent, it looks like we will push for a wild card.
Let's go.
Brandon, I immediately do that every year. Who are the quarterbacks? What's the quarterback matchups? Where do the Bears have? We did that last year with Trey Lance. And a lot of us were right, by the way, that the Bears were going to beat the 49ers in week 1 because we thought the Bears had the quarterback advantage. Trey Lance was still, young and inexperienced. And I think the 49ers were actually probably the team that should have won that game, but that's not how it played out. All right. John, I mentioned this one earlier, $5. Grew up in Vernon Hills, now live in Pasadena. SoFi is going to be a home game for the Bears. Let's go. Carm, come party in LA.
Hey, I'm down, John. I'll talk to upper management right after the show. There's at least 2 people that want me to come to LA. That's enough for me. Let's go.
That's all you need.
I mean, come on. John, I'm staying with you, buddy. Budget's a little tight over here, so I hope you got a nice little palatial. I mean, if you started out in Vernon Hills and now you're in LA, I'm sure you're living nice. Let's go. Is that rude? Hoge's like a face. Did you just ask to stay at John's place? Yes, I did. Love John.
Yeah, I don't know. Whose budget are you talking about? Yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine.
That's what had me thrown off. All right. Edward the first. What are we talking? Rubles here? What are the 22?
Yeah, right. Rubles. Go ahead. You read this one.
I don't know. Did you guys see the idiot from Fox who called Chicago a war zone? Yes, I did. Afghanistan. I visited Chicago 3 years ago for 2 weeks. One of the prettiest cities in the world. And I'm not biased because of the Bears. Unbiased opinion. So that was Jason McIntyre, right?
It was Jason McIntyre.
Who is Colin Cowherd's like sidekick on that show?
What an idiot.
Yeah.
Moron.
That is first of all, anybody who's saying anything like that is obviously just doesn't come to Chicago much, doesn't really understand the city at all, and is probably just watching Fox News, quite frankly.
Yeah, and let me just taking out everything from it. I live in the city. I live in the South Loop. I'm in there every single. You guys come down to the studio all the time, but I live there every single day. Jason McIntyre, you don't know what you're talking about. It was a really low hanging bad decision, and I saw he tried to walk it back, saying he loved his meal at Alinea, which I've never been to, but I hear it's great. Glad that you can afford it.
Which just shows you how like qualified you must have any opinion on the city. I don't walk around and like start talking crap about St. Louis. I've been to St. Louis 3 times. They were all for Bears games. I was in and out of the city in a day. I don't know anything about the city.
It's just kind of become a cliche thing to say that city, as if every other city doesn't have its own problems and similar problems to it. Is Chicago a perfect city? No city is, and it needs improvements in certain areas, but there's also a lot of beautiful parts and beautiful things about Chicago on both sides of the city.
The numbers do not back up what he said. It's not accurate. And yes, Chicago needs to be better. So that's a conversation for a different show. Bear fan forever 14. What's up, my friend? I got this one, Hoge. Man, I wish I wasn't so broke and living in Montana. It's been too long since I've been to a Bears game. If I had my pick, I'd go to week 1 Packers game. Sadly, it's crazy expensive to go to a game from Montana. Bear forever 14. I'm going to make it my mission to get rich so you can come and we can have that. I'm going to flip it the whole other way. Instead of staying with somebody in LA, maybe I'll just get you to come to Chicago for the weekend. Now, the tickets are going to be super expensive for that game.
Well, he could save on gas money if he rides a horse from Montana. I don't know. I just imagine that he owns a horse. He lives in Montana.
You just did what Jason McIntyre did about Chicago.
You can't horse Montana Bear forever 14.
He knows somebody with a horse, I promise you.
I know somebody with a horse.
Oh, man.
That is messed up.
Hey, we got the guy in Chicago that rides around on a horse.
Hey, my nephew goes to school in Montana, and he actually drives to and from there at the end and beginning of each year. So hop a ride with him.
Well, I think we should negotiate some type of like house swap. You give me your place in Montana for like the month of July.
He put in the chat, I may or may not have a horse with a smiley face.
That's awesome. All right, couple more super chats. What do we got next? Rockstar 80.
Yeah,
Barrowhead.
These aren't super per se, but they are pretty super.
I got to say, Barrowhead is better than Burrowhead.
Let us win first, and then that can be the headline. And Rockstar, you get to claim to that because we haven't heard it yet. But don't be like the Bengals and say it before and give them a reason to be even angrier when they're the standout favorites to this game.
All right, and then Joshua jumping in here. My family's from Des Moines. So glad the Bears are in KC instead of Germany. Can't wait for beer and barbecue with Braggs in Kansas City. CHGO on the road. Let's go.
3.5 hour trip, KC to Des Moines, if memory serves. It's a nice little drive.
Yeah. And then, by the way, Carman, actually, I got to double check that. Never mind. Kevin Fishbane was texting something earlier about how is Northwestern and Nebraska the same weekend?
Is that right?
I don't know. Or maybe it was wrong. The wrong week. I'm not sure.
Fishbane, for the first time ever, made an error on Twitter. He's never done that in his life. He actually had to delete a tweet. I couldn't believe it.
How many errors did you make on Twitter today?
Only one horrible one. That was
you made two. Your second, you took the first mistake so hard. I didn't want to break it to you, but
I made two. What's my other one?
Where you said, a tailgate with Bryce, when they play the Panthers sounds lovely on Thursday Night Football. We didn't do tailgates on Thursday nights last year.
That's not an error.
That's not an error. And we're doing tailgates on Thursday this time, damn it.
Then I say it on the show. So.
We don't do tailgates Thursday night.
I'm sorry.
You should have to do 7 push-ups for that right now, but you can't do 7 push-ups, so we won't make you do that.
Yes, I can.
Oh, Bragg just got put in jail.
Well, you don't know what we're doing next year, buddy. Look at Jake Flanagan in here right now, and he will definitely say that it's a possibility that we might. And if not, I'll have a tailgate at my house right down the street. Everybody can come over. Let's go.
All right.
Sorry. We don't do the Wildcat football team plays at Nebraska October the 21st.
So it's not the same week.
Yeah.
Not the same week.
Yeah.
Wildcats play at Wrigley this year. Football. I really want to go to that game. And Carm promised me he could get me a ticket. So we'll see.
Okay.
Even though I booed Chris Collins.
You're not allowed to go to that game after you booed Chris Collins. Hey, if you're at Wrigley or anywhere else where the sun might be out, take on that sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Had the Shady Rays on pretty much all day today. Playing golf, outside, following the schedule leaks, running some errands. Sometimes it's nice to have a little nighttime show here. Got to be honest. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's what Shady Rays gives you. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear, too. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break a pair, even on day one, they told us they'll send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out one of their best deals of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
700 plus watching right now. If you can hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed and you're new to the channel because you're checking out NFL, schedule day, if you will, hit that subscribe button too. And if you'd like to, support us as far as the people that support us with the dollars, go get yourself some Fubo TV. 140 live channels, sports, shows, movies, news. You want to watch the Cubs, you want to watch the White Sox, Marquee, NBC Sports Chicago. They've got it all for you. You want to watch the Lakers lose the series after being up 3-1 starting tomorrow night after last night's win. Way to go, Golden State. You can get it all on Fubo TV. No contract, no cable, no hassle. Sign up, you start watching. They've got 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included, no extra charge, so you can record what you obviously can't watch live. All the good stuff is there for you. NHL, NBA playoffs. Watch again those Cubs and the White Sox on good old Marquee, NBC Sports Chicago with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
All right, let's do this. as we get to our final segment of the show, let's walk through the schedule a little bit. Now, I'm always, I think it's fine to make predictions. I'm not against making predictions when the schedule comes out, even though we don't even know what the final rosters will look like or anything like that. There's a lot that'll change. It's still a fun exercise to do. I always like to kind of look at it in sort of segments of the schedule instead of, going one by one, but that's fine. We could do it however we want to, quite frankly, because this is a show and you can do whatever you want. I don't know if you guys know that, but we'll start with this. Bears, Packers, week 1. We going all of us picking the Bears here?
Bears.
Okay, Bucks.
Easy.
Bucks week 2.
2-0. Bears.
What if the Bucks might be bad?
Bad Bucks. Bears. You know
Baker Mayfield starting that game?
Could be. You know what's going to be talked about that week? Cramping. Not cramming, cramping. It'll be all about
Crampa?
Cramping, Justin Fields hydrating. That's what the conversation is going to be in that game.
I do remember the Bears playing an early season game down there within the last 5 years, right? And that was that the game where Kyle Long got rolled up on with that nasty injury? Can't remember. But it was really hot. Heat was a factor. It will be a factor. Definitely something to keep an eye on. All right, week 3 against the Chiefs. Sorry, I'm not doing that. Chiefs win that game.
Loser.
Yeah, I'm losing.
So we're all 2-1. Broncos. Russell Wilson. Soldier Field.
Stick it. 3-1. Take that, DNVR.
Yeah, it's at home, so I like that. Because that's the one thing also that I wanted to ask you guys, and that maybe we can do it as we go through the schedule, is like what teams that were bad last year do we think will be good? Because like this time of year, we look at it, oh, they were bad, so that means we're going to beat them. Which teams do we think are going to actually change that this year? And this is one of those teams that you just don't know. So,
I mean, I think the Broncos will be I think they'll be a little better. I mean, I don't think they're going to be great, but
Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton. And look, I was somewhat critical of that hire because I do get sort of John Fox vibes with that hire, like a coach that's sort of just looking for one more opportunity before he rides into the sunset. But they have Russell Wilson's got to be better than what happened last year.
I agree.
So they'll find a way to figure. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't necessarily think they're going to be a playoff team, but I don't think that's a cakewalk either. So
yeah. So I'll just do the meatball that I've been doing all night, and I'll take the Bears as well. 3-1.
See, this is where I like to zoom out in like segments of the schedule. I'm going to say the Bears are 2-2 after the first 4 weeks.
Fine.
I think that's realistic, though.
It's fair.
I think
it's
totally
not
realistic.
Unfair to say.
Yeah.
It's at home is the one thing that I think benefits the Bears.
Do they win? If from that standpoint, like I think that's the most logical. Do they win 2 of 3 between the Packers, the Bucks, and the Broncos? That would be that'd be the fairest bet you could make.
Yeah,
if they win, the over under the over under for the first 4 weeks is 2. Taking the over, or 2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under.
I'm so scared how many wins I'm gonna talk myself into here by the end of this.
So I'm 2-2. You guys are both 3-1.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Washington.
3 days later on Thursday Night Football on the road.
Yeah, I think this is one where the Bears have a considerable quarterback advantage. Will
they block Montez Sweat this time? Will Braxton Jones get his revenge?
You guys are just afraid to go there. Win 4-1. Let's go.
This is a Thursday night game here.
Revenge.
Short week. It's never great when you got to be the road team on a short week.
I agree with Rockstar. It looks like a trap game. If you're 3-1 like me and Carm think it is, you got this momentum. It's on a short turnaround. It's on the road with a short turnaround. Yeah. You think you're going to win because of the matchup, but it's a trap game. But am I going to actually pick the trap game? Or am I just going to say 4-1? Let's do it. 4-1. Redemption, Mooney, game-winning touchdown makes up for last year.
I don't want to be the complete meathead here, but it's
I'll
May,
do it. You
it's
don't have
May
to.
11th. Sam Damass Howell, 4-1. Let's go.
All right. Little bit of a mini bye after that game, and then back-to-back home noon games against the Vikings and the Raiders. Again, something just tells me they split those games.
Right, let's split them. I'm down.
Right.
Split.
And it's Vikings, they lose, and Raiders, they win. Is the
6-2.
likely.
6-2. Right.
Yeah. Because I got
I feel like I'm over the top here with 5-3. Wait, how could they be 6 and?
No, they're not. It would be 5-2.
5-2.
Yeah, 5-2.
Okay, 4-3 sounds more realistic.
I'll have them losing to the Vikings just to be fair, even though it's at home and Kirk Cousins sucks. But I'll still take the Vikings. They got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison now. That'll be a handful. So 4-2 there, and then 5-2 after they play the Raiders.
All right, then they go to LA, the Chargers, Sunday Night Football.
Loser.
I agree. 5-3.
Okay, I'm at 4-4.
Okay.
Take that. On the road again, week 9. This one's a noon game against the Saints.
Who dat? Bears going to beat them Saints. 6-3.
Derek Carr, now the quarterback there.
No, I like the Saints in that game. 5-4.
Yeah.
I don't. I got the Bears.
Bears.
6-3. Who are the Saints? Who's their quarterback?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
And Jameis Winston's still the backup.
All right. That's
I'm gonna actually take the Bears in that game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears.
I'm gonna take the Bears. So I got them at 5-4. That means you guys got them at 6-3.
I got 5-4. I haven't losing.
Oh, you're back. You're back down the Hoge reality land. Okay.
I'm holding on for dear life.
Then another short week. Panthers.
Sit down, Bryce.
It's just crazy that the Bears ended up with 2 of these Thursday games. That is fascinating. So Bryce Young, Panthers. It's an interesting game. It's an interesting matchup. I have my doubts that the Panthers are gonna be that good.
I agree.
But this could be a trap game too on a Thursday night. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Maybe a fun thing to go through, maybe for another show, not as late, is to go through the Panthers schedule and see kind of what we think their record would be. But I got the Bears winning this game. So now, what am I, 7-3?
7-3. I actually got them winning too. I'm 6-4.
All right. Well, at least you guys aren't that far from me because I know what's happening here. Setting myself up.
Yep.
6-4. Let's go.
You're doing what you ripped Will for.
Well, okay, that's fine. And I don't begrudge anybody for predictions. Preseason predictions mean nothing. I have more respect for the week-to-week predictions during the season, also which I hold the crown for. Thank you very much. Had the best pick record of our CHGO Bears team, so you're not allowed to mock me. I'm the king. Last time I brag about that. So
no. All predictions are just fun. Anybody who takes predictions too seriously needs to settle down.
Yeah, and Bryce, we're gonna do this 17 more times before the season starts, but keep going.
Nope. This is locked in today, whatever he picks. All right, next 2 weeks, back-to-back road games against NFC North opponents. They go to Detroit for a noon game, and then it's Monday night, the week of Thanksgiving, but it's not till Monday night. They close out Thanksgiving week with a lot of football. Bears at Vikings.
6-6 in the mix.
Yeah, I got them losing both of those, I think.
Yeah.
What do you got, Braggs?
I should have picked the Bears to beat the Vikings week 6 because now I don't like that I'm having them lose back-to-back weeks. So, yeah, I don't know why I'm giving the Vikings this much credit. So
because they're better than us
and that's
right
that's the thing, though. It's Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football. However, that recently has been fine for him going against the Bears.
7-5.
We didn't salary.
So you got them splitting those games. No, you have them losing both of them. You had them at 7-3.
Correct. I don't love it. I hate myself for even saying it because, like, if you're actually going to go by what you're picking, then you have to think they're 7-3 with all this momentum playing the Lions week 11. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, but I'm going to be fair. I'm going to come back down to reality lane. It's no fun there.
All right, bye week.
I'm having fun. We're 500. We're going to the bye. We're in the mix. This is great.
What are you guys doing on the bye week? What are you doing on the bye week?
It's a great question.
Well, my birthday's the 29th, so you guys are gonna be getting me something nice and
another great December bye week. They had a December bye week last year too. This is messed up.
I'm pretty sure
Thursday night games and you don't get a bye until.
Yeah, I think it was week 13 last year as well. So
Mexico.
I think it was week 14 last year, actually.
Yeah, Hoge went to London and back.
Paris.
Here's my free advice.
There's airplanes that do that.
Free advice to upper management. Bears bye week hangout trip Cancun.
Yeah, that's in the budget.
What? No, I mean, you got to pay for it. We're going to charge you.
Okay. Duke Island. We'll go to Duke Island.
We all go. We debrief the season. We hang out. We watch other football. And you tell me that we don't want to do this together, team? Everybody takes a little vacation after Thanksgiving, heading into the holiday season. Always a very affordable time before Christmas. That's a great time for all of us to get together as a Bears CHGO podcast family.
I like it.
Don't all jump at once.
I'm not against it. All right, so I got them at 6-6. Going into the bye. Carm, you got them at 6-6.
Yep.
Braggs, you have them at 7-5.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good for
these last 5 weeks. Last 5 weeks of the season, not bad. Not bad. So
really
bye week, Lions at home.
Win.
They should have beat them last year at home with
7-6.
Worst roster I've ever seen, short of Justin Fields. They're winning week 14.
Wait, why is week 15 TBD?
Just time-wise.
Yeah, but it's actually listed on the Bears release as that too on the date.
Because it could be a Monday or a Thursday.
But why is it just that week?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's when some games start to be on Saturdays too.
Oh, that might be a Saturday week. I see. Yeah, that's what it is. Yep. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's where there's that random Saturday, Sunday, and they'll figure it out later. And then
because college football season ends and there's
whereas Christmas weekend they set those up in advance, and New Year's Eve weekend they set that up too. Okay, I gotcha. So yeah, that will. But regardless, they're going to Cleveland in December, and
loss.
I think it's a loss, huh?
They do.
I don't. I got the Bears winning that game. Redemption for Justin Fields, his first ever game in his career at Cleveland, when Matt Nagy almost got him killed. Another game where Bears fans will travel well. Our guy Luis Medina last night highlighting how it's a good drinking town, driving distance for Chicagoans. So I got to.
If you haven't been to Cleveland, you want to go see the Bears, you want to take on that. What the Browns tailgate is insane. It is the Muni lot over there is nuts.
Yeah. I would hop in a time machine and go back to a couple years ago when they played that game in September.
No, you're a lunatic if you go there in December, but if you are that person, it will be a festival.
All right. Regardless, I have to say that's one of the hardest games on the schedule to predict right now. Because the Browns could be better. I mean, their roster is not horrible, but the Deshaun Watson thing is just like, is he bad? Is he going to be back? Is he? That's one of the biggest wild cards I think in the entire league right now.
Yep.
That's a really hard game, especially late in the season to predict there. So
that's why we're picking the Bears.
Yeah.
So I'm 9-5 now. All of a sudden, I was in reality lane, and now I'm back to the meatball that I just love.
I'm gonna have them splitting those two as well. So they're 7-7 going into the last 3 weeks. That's Cardinals come to town. Falcons come to town. 2 teams from warmer climates / domes, retractable roofs, coming to Chicago in December. Bear weather, right, Carm?
That's right.
This is your rare chance for an actual bear weather, which isn't real.
Yeah.
But sometimes it actually is a thing, but really it's not.
I mean, I think Kevin's prediction is probably the most accurate, but since I got to reality lane here at 7-7, I think they beat the Cardinals because they don't want to be Murray. That's actually a bad draw, by the way, because Kyler could be playing by then, but whatever, don't care. Cold, you can't handle it. 8-7. The Falcons, you're used to playing in a dome. You're done. Your season's over. You're thinking about the draft. 9-7. And then am I going all the way there? They win at Green Bay. I'll say we end up splitting with the Packers one way or the other. So 9-8 is where I'm at.
Rags.
This is so hard for me. And for people that don't know, with Carm saying Kevin's prediction, he put 15-2 in the chat for our podcast listeners. But this is so hard for me. I don't have much respect for the Arizona Cardinals. I just don't. I just don't like their vibes. I don't like their new head coach. I don't care if
they're going to be bad this year.
I don't care if Kyler Murray's healthy. I don't think he's on the right trajectory of where he started.
That should be a win for the Bears. That should absolutely be a win.
Last year on Christmas Eve, didn't we play the Eagles? And it was insanely freezing that day. Jalen Hurts, that was one of his worst games of the year because of how unbearably cold it was that day. If it's that kind of game, the Bears are going to win it. So now all of a sudden I have them at 10-5.
I like it. Let's go.
I hate myself. I can't help it. And then the Falcons at home, same thing.
Just
Ritter,
saying.
Win 11-5. Packers packed it up for the year. They're not trying to win. They're tanking for an extra draft spot up or two.
12-5.
I now have them at 12-5. I really do think after the bye week, it sets up beautifully. The hardest game they have is the Lions game, and they get a whole bye week to prep for that game. And then the rest of them, Justin Fields, I'll take that all day. The Lions game, I'm going on a limb picking that game. So I could see it 11-6 if I was trying to be fair, but it's at home. It's full meatball day. I started meatball. I'm going to finish meatball. 12-5, baby. We're going to the playoffs. That last game will mean nothing.
So, but real quick, I mean, like we saw if you're trying to like realistically draw up this Bears season and what you want it to be, you're talking about the Jaguars and you're talking about the Lions from last year. The Lions went 8-2 to finish the year. So now, granted, they started horribly, but it's not that crazy to think the Bears could actually go on a run in the second half of the season, especially with those last 5 games and go, 4-1 in that stretch?
Rags has me so excited. I got to go run around the block. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay. You guys can handle the show. Thank you very much. Great.
Well, and that's the thing. So the Lions started slow last year when they had high expectations and it looked like they were falling apart, and they regrouped. The schedule probably helped them a little bit or whatever. But that's why I'm saying, it's such a must. It sounds so silly. Week 1 must win for so many reasons. But when you consider the Chiefs are week 3, and you kind of penciling in that as a loss, I'll take the upset, but I ain't picking them to win. That's where the trickle down effect and momentum. That's what football is all about, is momentum. You can't put that on paper. Start winning games, positive momentum. Lions finish 8-2. Negative momentum is a real thing. You lose to the Packers, that's going to be a demoralizing loss if they can't win that game. And then, Bucks, whatever. But then you got the Chiefs and Broncos, which Chiefs is a loss. Who knows what the Broncos are going to be? So just as easily as I'm saying they're going to be 3-1 to start the year, they could be 1-3 to start the year, realistically. So it all depends on how they come together as a team, which we just don't know. So might as well just be excited for it. Why pick them to lose right now? Let's just have a good time. And then injuries, health. Justin Fields hasn't been healthy through a whole season yet. That's why it is so vital for this team to figure out how to not rely on him to run for 150 yards a game where he's running out of gas. If they play him like they did last year, he's not going to make it through this schedule, not even half of it. So they have to figure out a passing offense that doesn't rely on him to do everything. and also running the ball with their new stable of running backs. So, there's just a couple factors you just can't quantify. We're picking these games in a vacuum. The NFL isn't in a vacuum. There's going to be so many injuries.
Don't worry, Carmen. Braggs didn't stop talking that entire time. It's like when the call drops and the person just still talks for like
that's absolutely
minutes and minutes, and they don't even realize.
I'd call into my guys Waddle and Sylvie and just black out and go on a rip like that White Sox guy.
Look,
that's why we hired you.
I also landed on 9-8 there in that process. I think 8-9, 9-8 is in kind of the wheelhouse. It gets you in the mix. You're in the hunt. I think 10-7 is actually realistic. I think 7-10 on the opposite end is also realistic. But for what's fair and what we are expecting from Justin Fields to take this leap this year, I also think it's fair to say that 6 wins would be a disappointment.
Massive disappointment.
Yeah, I think that this team is at least at this point with this roster going into this season where, look, the over-under on wins is 7.5.
Thank you,
Vegas.
Thank you. That's where I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
If everybody is really feeling this, and I don't know your financial situations, not just talking about Braggs and Hoge, but I'm talking about everybody out there. If you're feeling the confidence, 7.5. I mean, I'm not seeing anybody that's going under here, which scares me.
Yeah, but I know the same thing happened last year, though.
Well, and the other thing with Vegas, when you bring up the odds, didn't you point out, Hoge, that second odds-on favorite to win NFL head coach of the year was Matt Eberflus?
Yeah, because you look at you just do the math on that. You look at teams that still have, newer head coaches that exceed expectations with a schedule that's somewhat favorable, and the math on the regression works in the Bears' favor, that they're not going to regress, that they're going to be one of the teams that actually goes the other way. So I think that's why those odds for Matt Eberflus were where they were. Now, I think it's important to point out the NFL agrees with us. This schedule agrees with us. And Mike North, who is the guy that puts the schedule together in the NFL office, said as much. He was on Peter Schrager's podcast talking about all this before it came out. And Peter Schrager asked, hey, what's going to be that team that sort of surprises everyone that the NFL's banking on with the way that because look, when they set the schedule together, they're doing predictions here too, right? They're trying to figure out which matchups are going to be the most entertaining later on in the season and get the best ratings. That's a huge part of this. That's what Mike North does. This was what Mike North had to say in response to that question.
I'll give you one because it's maybe not necessarily indicative of their record from last year. I'll go with the Chicago Bears. I think that
interesting.
The fact that they were a 3-win team last year generally means you're heading for a lot of Sunday noon starts. But in that division now, maybe a little more wide open than in the past. They got a haul from the draft pick trade, and what do any of us know? But we keep hearing Justin Fields looks better than ever, and he was nothing if not exciting last year when we watched him. So if somebody were going to look at this year's schedule and be like, who would surprise us that they're all in on, I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to say, wow, that seems like they sure think the Bears are going to be good. And yeah, I kind of hope they are.
That admission at the end, I kind of hope they are. Like, Mike North does a tremendous job, and I've listened to him for years talking about the schedule process. It's actually fascinating. I consider myself sort of a schedule geek on this. It's really interesting to me how they try to predict this stuff. And look, they're wrong a lot, quite frankly. The Broncos thing was horrible last year. I mean, they had them lined up, Russell Wilson, all these games, and by week 3, you're like, oh my God, this team is unwatchable, and they're still on my TV like the next 2 weeks in prime time. And so they do make mistakes. But I think it's worth pointing out, we talked about this on yesterday's show too. I mean, the Bears rate regardless. So that's part of the equation here. But you have, it's not just the primetime games. Late afternoon window to start the year. 2 weeks later, late afternoon window against the Chiefs. That's not a primetime game. It's still a featured game. It's still a nationally televised game in that late afternoon window that rates really, really well for the NFL against the Chiefs.
They're hoping the Bears are 2-0. Keep going.
2 weeks after that, Thursday night football. 3 weeks after that, Sunday night football. 2 weeks after that, Thursday night football. 2 weeks after that, Monday night football. The Bears are in the spotlight. That long stretch of last season where I think they played their last 9-10 games at noon or whatever it was, that's not the case. This is all the way to the bye week through the end of November, primetime or featured late afternoon windows. And after that, there's 2 TBD games that could very well, and you can get flexed. And by the way, they're introducing Monday night flexing this year too.
Right.
So there's the opportunity for, depending on what those last 5 games don't look that sexy regardless. Like, I'm not sure they're going to be flexing Bears Cardinals, but Bears Lions, if the Lions are really what they're supposed to be, that could be a game that gets flexed.
An absolute candidate for sure.
I did not. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Carman.
No, just real quick. The biggest bet to me is the Charger game, because that is a little bit later in the season. You're putting them on Sunday Night Football against a very good offense with a Bears defense that right now I have no idea how they're going to get to the quarterback. That is a big bet in Week 8 that the Bears have not, for lack of a better way of putting it, an hour and 20 minutes into the show, shit the bed, and that they can be competitive at the same time in that game. It's a tough matchup. Go ahead.
What time is the Cardinals game?
That's actually scheduled for 3:25.
Okay. I'm glad it's not a night game.
It's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, my family Christmas party, but that's cool.
You know, if we can move that to noon, that'd be great. Thank you.
At least it's not 7, so you know we'll take the middle road there. My thought was, I really thought, I know the Lions are the hot team right now. Everybody's talking about them, but people were totally fine with the Bengals Chiefs game getting scheduled for New Year's Eve, and they put Lions Chiefs week 1. That to me was just a total flub by the NFL. There's so many variables between now and New Year's Eve. You know, what are they playing for? Who's injured? You could have had Chiefs, Bengals, week 1, first game of the year. These two teams literally hate each other. They both beat each other to get to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. Their Bengals are calling it Burrowhead. They get smoked. The Chiefs call it a Burrow pack. You could have had the Bengals standing there while they raised the Super Bowl banner right in their faces. To me, that's the ultimate TV drama. It was like, oh, well, you know, later in the year, there's more intrigue. There's intrigue every week of the season. I just thought that was a total missed opportunity. But I'm totally fine with the Lions getting their face pounded in week 1, too.
I kind of get it. Look, here's the thing about the Lions. Sorry, Don Burr. They to me, they set up as a team that could very well disappoint. And so if you have an opportunity, it's kind of the same thing as the Bears-Packer game in week 1. Right? Like, get it in the spotlight when you can, because Lions-Chiefs may be a complete dud by November.
Thanksgiving could be a huge dud. Packers, Lions. I mean, we'll be watching it because, of course, but Packers.
Yeah, but that's always that way. I mean, how many years have the Bears played the Lions on Thanksgiving where it's like David Blau was starting.
Commanders, Cowboys, Niners, Seahawks. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could find interest in all these games, but it's also like that is a.
But I agree with you,
Christmas is way better.
It sets up with the Lions having a disappointing year because of expectations. It's when you're a team that hasn't proven themselves, expectations can be one of the toughest things. Ask Sox fans. Sorry, Hope. Last shot. Yeah. But it's the truth, the Bears are in a good spot because they don't have expectations. They have a favorable schedule and they don't have expectations. So they're out there to prove themselves. The Lions, how are they going into this? You know, they have this gambling thing where players are getting suspended, you know, people questionable about their draft process, whatever. You know, I know they're the hot team, but then you play the Chiefs week 1. You might start 0-1, and the trickle-down effect could take place there. So, and expectations can crumble teams that aren't ready for it. So I definitely think there's a good chance of that.
I do want to celebrate me and Mario, who said that the Bears and the Panthers would play Thursday night. We got that right. My schedule wasn't completely correct, and unfortunately, I deleted it, so I can't see that I actually got every single week wrong. But we did get that.
Emailed it to me, I thought.
Yeah, you deleted it too. Good job. And Gary makes a great point that that Seahawks game could be very interesting because Holt Nailers could be starting a quarterback, my guy. You forgot the H in Ahlers, Gary. It's my guy. Don't ever do that to the Ahlers family.
Oh, you're getting on other people for spelling?
I'm a new man.
Okay, I like it.
No, Gary, go ahead. Should have. You could have spelled it AYLERS. Lovely.
All right. I think
So-
that's going to wrap it up for us.
Well, so what happened today? We went golfing.
oh yeah.
We went golfing, and
Hey, before we get to your golfing story, I have a request. We have 770 people watching. Before you leave and don't want to hear Carman tell his golf story, please hit the like button for us and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you very much for watching.
I'm interested though because I guess I saved the day, so this is a surprise to me. For sure.
Please hit the like button. Thank you.
I'm paying off Hoge's tees from an hour ago. That's the dedication that I have to this show.
Good point. I almost forgot.
Yeah, and so we went golfing at Hoge Golf Course, and and the guy was like, he looks at me, he's like, hey buddy, next time you come here, can you wear a collared t-shirt? You got me? Or a collared shirt? Excuse me. Absolutely. But I think he would have stopped me from playing. But since I had on, he was like,
Let's go.
we're gonna let you break the rules today. No collared shirt necessary.
Brick.
That's
Rocking
right.
it on the golf course.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, glad I could save the day for you.
Yeah, and I did a video with my dad today with your brick.
That
brick.
was a hilarious video.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going
It
to check
is
that out.
so funny.
All
It
right.
is so
It's-
funny. He's asking his dad about brick by brick. And
it's
he's
m-
like, do you
it's
believe in
minorly
brick by
funny.
brick? And his dad's like, no.
No.
and then he's like, well, do you understand what it means? Like, life and building a foundation. He's like, oh, okay. It's great.
He didn't look up. All he wanted to do was stare at the menu at Walker Brothers. He was fired up for the pancakes. I was trying to sell the
pretty.
product.
I might have to do that tomorrow morning. All right. Great stuff. Yes, we did manage to get on the golf course. They let Carman because of brick by brick, without a doubt. Big fail by you. Where was your pins and aces gear? I had the pins and aces hat on. I was ready to go. Pins and aces is our golf apparel partner. In fairness to you, the whole thing came together late. You had no idea when you left your house this morning that you were going to play golf, so that's not really your fault.
What a beautiful day.
Mostly true, but I did call you and ask you to play, so I could have thought ahead by about 28 minutes. So,
all right.
Too
much credit. Hey, do yourself a favor, and I haven't even watched this yet, but every single year the Los Angeles Chargers crush it on social media with their schedule release video. So I would check that out before you go to bed tonight. And I am excited to watch the Bears video. I've not seen it yet, but since they did this whole theme with The Bear, the TV show, which is an outstanding show coming back in June, it looks pretty good. So I'll be checking that out as well.
Panthers kill it too. Last year they had a great one, and obviously we need to know how they're going to lose as many games as possible. Did you see the Falcons? How they previewed their schedule release? You know, the guy that has the graph and explaining fuck around and find out.
Oh yeah.
He had a Falcon around and they brought him in and had him Falcon. This is when you Falcon around and you find out. I thought that was great.
It's actually pretty funny. All right. Good job for the social media teams. Hey.
What time's the Spaces tonight, Braggs? And I feel like
I'll be in it as soon as this is over. We got things to talk about. It might be a rain out tomorrow for laying the bricks, so I got all night to discuss this. So anybody that's on Twitter, I'll be in Spaces, but you got to be careful because the group I'm with is a bunch of delinquents.
Don't go in there. Seriously, just wait for the next time he's on. I highly recommend.
Matt Peck went in the other night after the Warriors lost, and I was like, Matt, just be careful in here. But apparently he hung out after I left. So yeah, anybody come on into other Spaces. I'll be chilling.
Bye. We're back tomorrow. Actually, it's Carman Will tomorrow at noon. CHGO Bears Podcast. They'll continue to break down the schedule for you. They'll talk to you then. See ya.